Why decisions disappoint. Our lives are filled with the outcomes of our daily decisions. We make decisions that affect little and almost insignificant aspects of our well-being, as well as those that could be life-changing and have direct consequences on our career, marriage, education, and more. However, one of the unmistakable things that comes with making decisions is the high possibility of regrets. Now, this may just be a tiny dissatisfaction with what we chose or a total regret. One thing is, however, certain, that human nature does not seem to know how to enjoy its decisions completely. Psychologists refer to this as adaptation. In simple terms, when we make decisions, we are usually ecstatic about what we just did. However, over time, we get used to the decisions and then take them for granted. It's usually a two-way disappointment street. First, we might regret what we gave up and then regret what we ended up with. For instance, anyone who used the floppy disk in the early 2000s might have felt his 32 megabyte disk was a big deal. These days, however, it's laughable that anyone would consider buying a phone or storage device with 2 gigabyte storage, which is over 60 times the capacity of the floppy disk. The truth is, there is a constantly evolving desire of humans to attain higher heights and to get better results, irrespective of our endeavors. These desires find unbridled expressions in our daily lives. Perceptual adaptation. Following the ever-changing needs of humanity, we soon slip into perpetual adaptation, which is really a unique form of getting used to things. When this happens, our perception and appreciation of what we once considered big deals dwindle. There is generally a declined responsiveness to the sights, sounds, or smells that we once considered thrilling. It is not that in reality these things have changed. We have just been weaned off the excitement that it initially came with. If you lived in a quiet part of your country, for instance, and then had to travel to a boisterous popular city like New York, Paris, or Las Vegas, the sheer fast-paced nature of these cities would most likely upset your initial disposition. You might be excited or horrified for a while. However, with time, you're most likely going to blend in and do just fine. In some cases, you might even get bored with the pace and desire something extra fast-paced. The problem is not the pace of the city, rather. It is a decreased responsiveness to the exciting things that once commanded your attention. The bustle of these cities would sound exciting to any first-time visitor until they also grow to become desensitized to it with time. Hedonic adaptation. Although we just stated that our responsiveness to things declines with time or use, this decline might not be unconnected to our internal pleasure thermometer. Hedonic adaptation refers to the changes that our pleasurable response to things undergoes with time. The way you react to something for the first time might be, say, about 20 degrees, for instance. When the same thing is done, you might give it a 15-degree reaction and 10 degrees the next time. This is particularly true when we hear a good joke for the first time. We roar with laughter and might even end up with tears in our eyes. We would still have a good laugh after hearing it for the second time, probably, because we now even understand an aspect of it that we didn't catch the first time. However, if you continue to hear the same joke, you would soon become bored or even upset with what once made you laugh. All of these are functions of our hedonic adaptation. The pleasure thermometer has experienced a decline from a high point to probably a negative rating. So laughter might soon become anger, and what was once pleasurable might become disappointing. How hedonic adaptation affects reference points. Among business and wealthy circles, for instance, a common notion is that the first million is usually the hardest. Subsequently, it gets easier. The implications of that statement are in multiple folds, but in our context today, it could imply that the man pursuing his first $1 million believes in this worthwhile financial goal and pursues it with so much vigor and energy until he achieves it. After this happens, he gets used to the process and can almost replicate the process flawlessly. However, in addition to his acquired financial expertise, he is likely to disregard what he once considered a goal to be achieved, as he has now hit that goal. In the corporate world, people do their best to get promoted for many reasons, one of which is usually an increase in remuneration. Say, for instance, a woman who earns about $40,000 annually and works hard for her promotion, which would add an extra $5,000 to her annual salary, suddenly gets a new offer from a different firm to pay her $55,000. She jumps at the offer and gets to work immediately. Unfortunately, after some months, this new company files for bankruptcy and has to let everyone go. Fortunately, her former company is more than glad to receive her back and even compensate her with her long-desired promotion and the $45,000 she once desired. Although she would be grateful for a job, her previous access to $55,000 would likely make her unappreciative of her promotion at her former place. This might mean that we are satisfied with certain things because we have not really had an opportunity to experience more. When we do experience more, the things we once desired might lose their taste before us, for almost every one of us. At some point, we can say that the things we once prayed for are the things we now take for granted. People desire to be married, and then 5 years down the line, they share the same room but spend their time on their phones rather than with each other. They pray for children, but soon send them off to some boarding house because they need some peace and quiet. Adaptation and multiple choices. It is quite easy to see that one of the reasons why adaptation occurs is really because of the various alternatives available to us. Before we ever choose what we do, we fight through myriads of options and have to give up on what we could have benefited if we chose option A instead of B. When B fails in some ways to meet our expectations, we're quickly reminded of A and begin to nurse ideas of how to get A or some other benefits that could replace the lapses with B. We would not easily fall prey to adaptation if our options were limited. For instance, medical oxygen is available in hospitals for the sick, but no one in his right senses wants that oxygen. We're contented with the free oxygen that we breathe in and out, even though it predates man and was put in our world by the creator of the universe. The same thing goes for water. We might purify it, bottle and brand it in some way, but water will never be replaced. The simple reason is that it stands in a class of its own. Dealing with the choice paradox. Since we now know that we would almost always be hit with some form of regrets, how do we mitigate this? The simple answer to this would be to enjoy the moment. As long as your decision is not toxic, harmful to others, and outrightly dangerous, make up your mind to enjoy whatever benefit you can derive from it. You must also realize that all excitable things wane over time. This is why you have this video today. With this knowledge, you're better informed and equipped to deal with things when the decline in satisfaction begins. You could also try out some consultations before making your final decisions. Many times the regret is higher when we enjoyed what we got for a short while. However, if we enjoyed it for a long time, we do not really feel the pain of regret. So, get some wise counsel from professionals or people who excel in the endeavor that you're about to get into if you can. It will help you with better decision making. If you enjoyed this video, then we're sure you'll also love to know why the decision to do things for free sometimes makes us happier than doing the same things for money. Yes, we would talk about that in our next video. Be sure to stick around for that video. Thank you for watching.